Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me for episode number 5 of Practical EdTech Live, where I answer your questions from the previous week that have arrived in my inbox or on EdTech related questions. Of course, you can always put them into the live chat either on YouTube, hello YouTube, or on Facebook, hello Facebook. Either way, I'll answer those questions on the fly as well as the questions that I've received in advance. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's round of questions that have popped up in my inbox. The first one being, Richard, what's your email address? And actually, that's the last question I got. I'll put it first today. I'll go in reverse order. What's your email address? My email address is richardbyrne@freetechforteachers.com. The number 4. So richardbyrne@freetechforteachers.com. Send me your emails anytime, and I'm happy to answer them either in text or here in the live version. So working in reverse, again, number 6. I've been following you for a while. I watched for the webinar you did with Greg Kulowiec about virtual reality. I think that person meant I watched the webinar you did with Greg Kulowiec. That's right. Either way. I'm still a little confused about the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality. Do you have anything you can explain about the differences? Yeah. So the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality. Virtual reality is something that you or your students or anyone else will see through a virtual reality headset. And it can be related to your location, but it doesn't have to be related to your location at all. It's just something you see in your headset. So you could be sitting here in your office space like I am and take a look around at the Grand Canyon or any number of places around the world, or even worlds that don't exist, fictitious worlds in virtual reality. You can do that. Augmented reality is different because it's location based. Augmented reality is things that will pop up on your screen based on what your camera is picking up. So, for example, I recently wrote a blog post about an app from PBS Kids called Plum's Creaturizer, which will let your students take their phones outside and put their fictitious characters that they build into real-world environments. And that's augmented reality. Augmented reality is based on your location. Hello, PSD Instructional EdTech Coach channel. Thanks for joining me. They've just popped up in the YouTube channel. All right. So hopefully that answers augmented reality versus virtual reality. Question number 6 about ScreencastOMatic. Will ScreencastOMatic work on Chromebooks? Unfortunately, no. ScreencastOMatic does not work on a Chromebook, even if it's in your web browser. ScreencastOMatic will only work on a Mac or Windows computer. If you're looking for something to screencast on your Chromebook, the two that I use the most are Nimbus Screenshot for screencasting or CaptureCast. Now, CaptureCast does have some permissions that might scare some people away, so I would try Nimbus Screenshot first. I like both of those better than Screencastify, though there's nothing wrong with Screencastify. I just find the resolution to be a little bit better on Nimbus Screenshot. And so those are your solutions for screencasting on a Chromebook. All right. Question number 4, or working in reverse. I am going to be the technology coach for our school district next year. I just found out last week. Hey, congratulations. I've been following you for years. Do you have any tips for new technology coaches? Yeah. So a couple of things to keep in mind, particularly if you're new at the job. And I was guilty of this when I had this role. I overwhelmed teachers with too many new tools at once. I was excited. As technology people, we get excited about new tools and we want to share that with everyone, but not everyone shares that enthusiasm. And a lot of people might get overwhelmed if you're sending out an email every week with, hey, here, look at this new tool, or hey, look at that new tool. So I would scale it back a bit and maybe focus on a couple of tools a month that you want to introduce to people, or maybe this person didn't specify if they're working with high school students or high school teachers or elementary school teachers, but if you're at the middle school or high school level, maybe pick one tool that's going to help all the social studies teachers that month, or next month pick something that's going to help all the math teachers, and try to work it in that way. I would also say make screencasts. The more screencast videos you can make, the better. Put them on a district website or a district blog, or even create a new blog for it. Make screencasts. People love to go back and watch the steps on how to use a tool. And the last thing I would say is, send a weekly email, but don't send a daily email out to your staff. Just say, hey, this week I'm available between these hours to help you with this tool or any other questions you might have. Just, let people know that you're there and you're supporting them, but don't blast them with every cool tool that you find. So that'd be my tip there. Now, if you're a technology coach and you're watching this yourself and you have a tip you want to add, feel free to put it in the chat room right now. Put it in the chat, and we can add those in. So question number 3, working in reverse order. I was looking at your list of 10 ways to use Google Earth in the classroom, and I want to try layering old maps onto Google Earth like you mentioned. Do you have any recommendations for places to find old maps? Yeah. So first of all, in Google Earth, the desktop version, or what's called Google Earth Pro, there is a layer called the David Rumsey Historical Map Collection, and you can go in there and you can see historical maps layered on top of others. Hey, this is the beauty of doing this live. My dogs have just come alive. So, do you have any recommendations besides the David Rumsey Historical Map Collection? If you want to see the dogs, there's Mason, and Max is at the window over there. So, besides the built-in layer, National Geographic and the USGS, the U.S. Geological Survey, have quadrant maps that you can download for free. So check those out. There's also a great website called Old Maps Online, and Old Maps Online will let you browse not only the David Rumsey collection and the USGS, but National Geographic, the British Library, resources from all over the world to find old maps of various places. So that's one or two places you can find old historical maps. And someone just put a question in the chat on YouTube. Let me see that again. Oh, Ben asks, are you using some other chat doc for questions and conversation? So, Ben, what I'm doing right now is I'm reading some of the questions that were emailed to me in advance that I just dropped into a document. But you can also put the questions right in the YouTube Live, and I'll answer them there, or on my Facebook page. I have them on my Facebook page as well. But the one I'm reading right now is just the stuff that was sent to me in advance. All right. So, and thanks for being here, Ben. Definitely respect what you're doing in EdTech as well. So thanks for being here. Will Vizia.co work in Google Classroom? Vizia.co, by the way, if you haven't seen it before, is a really cool tool for building questions into YouTube videos. And you can take the results from that and drop it into a spreadsheet, including Google spreadsheets, and then have it graded for you. So check out Vizia.co, and yet it doesn't work directly in Google Classroom, but you can link your Vizia.co video into Google Classroom, if that makes sense, and put it in as an announcement and have kids click on the link, and then when they finish everything, it'll pop up in a spreadsheet. And if you want to put that spreadsheet, if you want to use that spreadsheet in Google Drive and Google Docs, you could run the Flubaroo script and have it automatically graded for you as well. So it's kind of a neat thing. And since we're on the Google, just lost the chat there for a second it's not popping up now. Show messages. There it is. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate that. Hey, Clint. Thanks for being here. Clint, by the way, check out Clint's podcast, EdTech Rewind. I was on it a couple weeks ago. Fun. All right. Last question that I have in advance was about Google Classroom. People are going crazy for the new version of Google Classroom with the Gmail setup and Gmail login. And here's the question. I'm trying to join a Google Classroom with a code that a colleague gave me so that we could learn Classroom together. The code she sent me keeps saying invalid no matter how many times she resets it. Do you have any idea why this is happening? Yes. one of the quirks of the new version of Google Classroom that allows you to set up a classroom with Gmail is that everyone who then joins that and tries to use your join code has to join with a Gmail address and can't join with, let's say, your richardbyrne@rsu19.org address. That won't work. Likewise, it wouldn't work with max@freetechforteachers.com. Everyone who is trying to join that class will have to use a Gmail address if you created the classroom using your Gmail address. I hope that makes sense. I'll make a video about it. Actually, I did make a video about it. It's in my YouTube channel. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's why that's happening. And the solution to that is make sure you just log yourself out of your school account and then go back in and log in using your Gmail. That way you're not having any confliction there. Yeah. All right. Esther says, Flubaroo doesn't seem to work with Vizia. I'd love to make a tutorial regarding grading in Vizia using Flubaroo. Oh, so I actually have a video about that, Esther. I'll link it up. Everything I record here, I put in a blog post tomorrow. I'll link up the video I have on how to do that. So what you need to do is get all your Vizia scores put into a spreadsheet. It'll all save into a spreadsheet. Put that spreadsheet into Google Drive and use Google Sheets, and then use the Flubaroo to grade it. And like I said, I have a video on how to do that, and I'll share that as well. So awesome. All right, and if there are any other questions, send them to me right now. Otherwise, I'm gonna. I have not played around with Apple Classroom 2.0 yet. That's on my list of many things to do. No, have not done that. I've been playing around with Microsoft's new Teams option. I am cautiously optimistic about it for Microsoft schools, for schools that are really into the Microsoft environment. In full disclosure, it's been so long since I use Microsoft on a regular basis that my learning curve is probably a little steeper than some people who use Microsoft products on a regular basis. Guys like Jeff Bradbury, he may even have a tutorial about it already. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But by the way, shout out to Jeff Bradbury if you're watching this. He has a lot of great stuff on using the Microsoft environment in your classroom. So check that stuff out. All right. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I think this is the biggest YouTube audience we've had so far. Oh, who are my favorite educational YouTubers right now? Good question, Ben. Keith Hughes is still one of my favorite people to watch. Now, I'm a history guy, so that's where I come from. I'm always love Keith Hughes. Tom Ritchie is exciting. I got to give a shout out to Tom Ritchie for really speaking his mind a lot, probably even more so than I would, particularly going through the last election cycle. He had a norm for teachers in terms of politics and actually speaking out about it. So I really give a lot of respect to Tom. If I'm looking at my own YouTube, I'm looking at my own YouTube subscriptions right now. Besides that, this is not necessarily it is education, but not education in a normal sense. A guy named Bus Huxley, who's from Maine, does a lot of really interesting videos on stuff that you need to know to like live in the wilderness. Kind of a neat channel. Check it out, Bus Huxley, and some other stuff I'm following right now. Josh Williams, I'm subscribed to right now. I'm also subscribed to. Besides Tom Ritchie and Keith that I've mentioned, Urban Teacher is on there too. So awesome. Thanks. All right. So thanks everyone. I'll be posting the list of questions and my answers tomorrow on freetechforteachers.com. You can get them there. Clint, very important last question. Favorite jock jam of all time? CNC Music Factory, gonna make you sweat? Probably that one. All right. And thanks, Clint. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you all next week. Hope you join me again at 3:30 next Thursday for more questions and answers on Practical EdTech Live. Thanks, everyone.